Okay, we've got our deer all skun out. Now it's time to quarter it. I like to have it hanging by one hock. That's a little bit easier when it comes time to separate it. I'll go right in the center right here, and I'll just cut right down till I hit bone. And once I've got nothing but bone, now I'll just keep coming down and just barely find the front edge of it. And put a little downward pressure here, like pull on it just a little bit. And just follow the bone, cut the hollows, right? Just keep peeling it right loose. It's a little higher than I might normally have it, but, and now we can see what's going on here. You can see this is right here is a little bit loose, and we don't want to cut on that because that's holding up, of course, the whole support system. As you come down the hip bone and you work your way forward, just go a little bit at a time and just keep feeling out the bone, and you will come to the socket. And you can see the socket starting to come apart, and there's a tendon on the inside of the socket as well. And you go right around the outside of it and then dig in a little bit. I don't have much of a tip on this particular knife here, so we're just kind of winging it that way. And you'll come down around the flat part, and then you have to go up in towards the tail. The meat actually goes up in there, so you don't want to, you know, take that part out. You want to leave it hooked, and you stay right against the bone itself. And now you can see the inside tendon has been cut, and now we're going to finish taking the ligament around the socket itself. Just keep prying on it, gentle. Hold right onto your leg and stay right against the bone, just like that. Yeah. You can come to the back and you can see where the backbone is. Here's the tailbone. If you want, you can even like lay a line in there so you know where you're going, and stay right against that and cut right down through, a little bit at a time. It's really cold. This is nice and cold. And cut right loose, and now see, you can see how it's starting to get loose and it's starting to come off. Now is a great time to just finish coming there. This is the flank steak right here, which is not really in the greatest of shape. Let's just cut that loose a little bit. And take the fat right just through that little bit right there, and it comes right off in your hand, and there you got it. Piece of cake.
Nice job.
Okay.
Then you get your buddy
to hold the
to hold the bag open for you.
Yeah.
Sort of. There's one.
And you got a nice nifty handle on there. And now you can work on the frozen part. Take a Sawzall if you want, cut it right off, whatever you want to do.
Yep.
If you wanted to leave the handle so it would hang, you can do that too.
Perfect.
Yep. Okay. Once we've got that quarter off, one of the very best cuts on the deer, of course, is the back straps. So I'll cut right in. When I get to the end of the pelvis bone there, I'll kind of search for the end of it, and we'll cut right in a little bit, and then we'll go right down the backbone bumps. And this knife is starting to get dull, and that is a cold deer. And I'll stay right against those little bumps and cut right down through like so, and just kind of push it away and open that up. Stay right against it, just like so. Oh, wants to move around, and she's pretty cold. Then cut right in nice and square, right in front of that bone right there. And pry that corner open. Now there's another little set of bumps deeper down in on the edge of each one of those vertebrae. And you can kind of push in and pry that open and find each one of those little buggers, and spread that apart. That's what makes him a fast runner. And then we'll just peel that right out of the corner. It's like a corner piece of meat. it's and see, there's bone, you know, the rib bones are right there, and the little ears off each one of the vertebrae. And you can literally pull on it some. And now we're into the very first one of the main ribs. And take your time and keep it right against the bone as you go down. And see, they turn into a bit more of a shelf before they turn as you work your way forward. And you go right down like so. And being nice and cold, it really comes off good. If you're a big steak fan and you like steaks, these are probably some of the very best ones. And the farther that you go down, the more you'll get. So you can work your way right down into the front shoulders a little bit. It won't hurt a thing because it's really good stuff right there. There's also like a little bit of bone that sticks up off the vertebrae, especially when you get into like a moose or something. Now, as you're going down, if you hit this kind of stop, you have your scapula starting to come. So usually right about there is where I call it quits, and I just cut cross like so. And there it is. There's your back strap. All nice and ready to go. There's a fair amount of fat and extra stuff there that we'll trim off later, but that's the main piece right there. Yeah.
You're like the Bob Ross of deer hunting, you know that?
Well,
happy little tenderloin.
well, you know, when you've got that peeled loose, I mean, you've taken,
it's your deer. It's your deer. You cut it how you want.
right, and also too, like, you know, you've gotten just about every little tiny bit out of there, all the way through, and you've gotten a look at that. It's a pretty good size, you know, out of a fairly small deer. That's really good eating right there. That's some excellent eating. And now you can actually go right after the other side if you'd like. Now that you have this roadmap of where things are, you can do the same thing. Come across, go right straight in, and then turn down your backbone and switch knives.
Good, 'cause that fucking video was 7 fucking minutes. I did both on there.
Yep. And I'm definitely not one of the bearded guys there that do all the cutting, deer cutting. Those guys, that's what they do. They cut meat, and they're really used to doing it. They do a lot of it. You watch some of their videos; they're excellent. They have some nice equipment, nice knives, and nice
Doing it inside.
doing it inside, doing it where it's warm. And I'm sure they could do it outside where it was beautiful and do just as good a job. Practice makes perfect in everything you do. And for sure, like, nearly everybody was new at doing something at one time. And you can oftentimes just take the time to look at what you had going on this side and predict where you're at when it comes to the opposite side. And you'll know the opposite side can be like your little roadmap of what you're doing. Can't eat trees, but we can eat the deer that eat the trees. And then our land feeds us. And the phone still rings. This is a really nice little knife. Much sharper than that other thing. Although the other one is a little, the shape of it is a little better suited. But like you'll have one side where you're strong at cutting and doing a good job, and then you'll have the other side where not so much. There's the scapula. There we go. And there's the other one. Scapula. There we go. There's the other one. Are we done?
Done on the GoPro anyway.
Yeah, GoPro's kind of had to radish. But anyway, now we've gotten the real important, beautiful parts off. There's all kinds of nice rib meat there. Some of the ribs, we've had some before. Oh, they were excellent. A lot of people may chuck them. Some people will take the time and go in between all of them and everything and gather a lot out of there. And you can, a lot of times I'll do my meat cutter a solid and I'll cut off the not so hot stuff. So if you're bringing it to a meat cutter, any places where it's shot and kind of nasty, just cut those off and get rid of them. A lot of times wherever there's some bloodshot of some kind, it's likely that something went through there. Could be like a little piece of lead or a bullet fragment or something like that. And a lot of that I try and cut around it, and I'm not super desperate to save every little piece where it might not be too good for you or whatever. But for the most part, that's the real beginning of getting the best part, and then the hind quarter will be the very last. Normally now, when I get to this stage, it'll come time to take that front quarter off. You can grab right onto it and just kind of pull on it some and separate the bottom of it. And this doesn't actually have a joint. And if you just go inside of the hollow itself, wherever you find it, and just kind of crack it open. Now, if some of this meat's on that side or this side, it's not wasted. It doesn't matter which side it's on when you get done, because you're going to utilize it anyhow. And then just kind of peel that right loose like so. And once I've broken that piece, which is neat to see how it can come apart. And we have some pretty good stuff coming down the neck there as well, which can stay on the neck or it could stay as part of this. I'll leave it on the neck, and I'll go on the end of the scapula. The outside edge of it is a lot of cartilage. So I'll just cut on the outside edge of the scapula and leave the rest of it right on the neck, like so. Just a little bit of fat right there, and just that. So like that whole front leg will come off like that. And you can see like there's very little that holds it on the body. So it's pretty amazing the thing even works. And let's go with another bag.
Hand that to your lovely assistant.
Yeah, sometimes your assistant isn't so lovely.
Yeah,
Other times it is.
That is the case right now.
Right. Okay. And if you do have a lovely assistant, they can like hold on to just part of it there, like right here. I want this part. Yeah. And then I'll just, like I said, just cut in the hollow like so, and just separate that and pull on it some. And just go for the empty space that's inside there. Then look for your cartilage. And then same thing again, just the empty space where there isn't much in there. And this is just the one little part that connects it. It's just a little bit of meat right there, and that's it. Front quarters are like a piece of cake. They're not the greatest for actual cuts. These tend to be kind of tough, your shanks. The scapula is T-shaped, it's flat, but it also has this other part, like a little rib that sticks up in the center. And when it comes time to take that meat off that, we'll cut right on top. I'll find that bone and I'll cut right off on each side of that center part, and then peel off that meat on each side of the scapula, and you can get it right off the scapula in just a short while. And on a big animal like a moose, it's really quite a, that's a really good cut on the front quarter. Those are probably the best parts of the meat. That sausage Rion had last year was excellent. And that'd be good sausage meat right there. You have the brisket right here. I heard about a guy who was saying that they were making bacon out of this part of it. And I bet that would be delicious. I bet that would be good as well. Yep. Now you can continue right down with the neck meat and go right beside the backbone, just like we did when we took the other parts off. And you can just continue right down in the center, right down through, like so. There is a tremendous tendon on the back of their neck to help hold their head up. On a moose, that thing is huge. That is really quite a piece. And then the same thing here. Come right up against the rib and work your way and get it in the light a little bit better here. Just peel forward a little bit at a time. There's little bumps in there. There's some bone right there. And just peel that open. There's another one. Each one of these little tiny bumps has some like sinew and some really tough stuff hooked to that. And if you cut against that a lot, those little tough spots will be on the meat all the way down through, and it'll make it a little bit like tough. So don't be too crazy about staying right against those and trying to get every little tiny piece of meat, because it'll make it a little bit tougher when you have some of those extra little sinew type pieces. If you grind it or whatever, it'll get mixed in with it and it'll make the meat just a little bit tougher. There's another one. You'll feel them with your knife as you're cutting, and you'll come to them. Don't push on them. Just back up a little bit and kind of cut around them and continue. There's one right there. What was a big help for me is looking at it when I was done. When I was done, understanding the structure of it. It was real important, because once you understand the structure of it, you'll know where to cut and how to get it off. And you won't work your knife so hard against the bone. You'll do a better job, and it'll be less exploring where the bones are with the knife. Now, what will make a sloppy job is if you're in a hurry, as always, with everything. So take your time. Let's get down here where it's a little better. And this thing has got a small neck. Ryan and I were looking at it, and it's like, man, that thing ain't hardly 4 inches across. My thumb is getting frozen here. This will make good jerky. Usually a lot of it gets ground with most people. And when you start getting halfway, you'll come to the trachea. You don't have to cut into it or anything. Just cut beside it. And you'll know that you're halfway. You can actually just take that right off like so. Now you've got that part of the neck meat. Well, our camp owner needs a little bit of coyote bait, so he's a fan of the channel, and he's looking for some coyote bait. So this section right here, the ravens and the crows and the foxes and all the coyotes and everything will all benefit from it. And really, there's no waste in nature, right? And nature will make use of all things, even your pollution. So this has been a really great place for us to stay, and we appreciate him having such a nice place. It's an awesome place. Yeah, and it's a great location. It'd be great for snowmobiling and stuff like that. Wonderful location for that. This really is a special place up here, and we share it with a lot of folks. And I want to thank the landowners, right? They share, timber companies and all the different landowners that help make the place special as well. Something unique about the Northeast, right? There's a different land ethic here than other places in the country or around the world, for sure. Where we have public trust, we consider wildlife a public trust. The bones right there. Work our way right down the bone. Just finish peeling this flank off right here and the brisket. Keep a good grip on things as you start getting near the bottom. Then it won't end up in the chips. I hope. My hand is getting colder and colder by the minute here. Once I've got down a ways, this is a great time too to get the esophagus off. Just peel that loose a little bit if I can get a hold of it here. Get it started. It is so cold. When it's warm, things will go right along much quicker. Skinning in the cold is always a bigger deal. Make your hamburger tough. That'll do it right there. Leave that thing in there.
Some esophagus in
there. Yeah. Nasty area. Let's just cut the nasty off. This is always a great little trash unit for me. I would just throw the junk on the inside of the rib cage, and that kind of contained it, and it allowed you to pick it up and move it and just chuck it. So I always use that as a trash can. There's still some actually decent stuff on the outside of the rib cage that can be saved as well. It comes down to how well and how much and what kind of job you want to do. A lot of people will chuck that, and some of them don't like any fat at all. Everybody's different. Their taste for it and what they do is different. But yeah, nuthatches are looking for a little fat, I think. They're talking. Oh, look at this. Let's just see how much we got there. Stay against the rib with her a little bit and see if we can start peeling that open. And if it turns out it's really not much and it's not something we want to save, and there ain't much to it, then we don't have to. Let's just peel it loose and see what we end up with. Depending on the size of the animal, on a moose, this will be quite a bit. On a smaller deer, it won't be so much. And there's more meat as you go deeper in towards the front. not really all that much, but there's some there. We'll leave it for Beef's meat cutter to cipher out. Any of your kind of nastier chunks of stuff, fat especially, you can cut those off and throw them in the bottom. There's usually quite a bit of chunks of fat along the kidneys, especially if the deer is in good shape. We can see the tenderloin is right here, and then there's another one hanging right there. Same thing with those. They're real soft meat. If you cut down through like so, and then just grab onto it, you can kind of stick your fingers in here, here, and here, and peel outward, and the whole thing will come right out in your hand in like one nice chunk. I can remember one time I was in the woods and it was super late, and I was like maybe gonna have to spend the night, and that's the part of the deer that you could get out and cook and eat and cook it fairly quickly. It's kind of a smallish piece. It's real soft and good. And if you haven't, like Beeve, when he shot through here and the bullet passed literally right here, and it almost looks like maybe a chunk of it went in that direction or something. I wouldn't doubt, but like its bladder was full and it went boom and it exploded in there. And if you've got guts or any of that shot, those will have a tang to them you might not like. And there's been a few of them where they've been exploded and I didn't eat those because it's right in all this stuff. And if you do have it, cook it good. At the time, the one I shot at the time, Zigzag, when I shot him, the bullet were all up front and they were not in the back at all. I took those tenderloins out and put them on a stick and had a fire going, and I cooked them. And while I was cooking them, I got Donnell on the radio. He was coming up the hill, and I told him I'd had some meat for him, and I ate them all. He got there, and there was no meat. And to tell you the truth, they were not good at all. But I was kind of hungry, and I'm like, he's not going to like these. I overcooked them, and the fire was too much. And one of them I dropped in a little bit, and I'm like, I can't give that to him. And I just ate him, but I did him a service, really. He didn't feel that was the case. When he got there, he could probably tell the story in a whole different light. But anyway, just keep that in mind with those. I've seen quite a few of those that were so hot after, depending on what happened in here. Those are exposed meat to whatever happened inside the chest cavity. That's a deal. That can be a game changer that's not well liked. But anyway, we've got, nearly all the meat off of everything. This is like really thin. That isn't hardly an eighth of an inch of meat, so there's not very much right there. The diaphragm and what happened on the inside, you can see this section for ribs would actually be pretty decent right here. And if anything, I might just take like the Sawzall and just cut right through here. And if I didn't care about Ryan's knife, I would just cut it with my knife, but it'll ruin this blade. And then just cut out, take the Sawzall right here and cut and make another cut in here someplace and get a rack. And then have those. We've marinated them overnight or something in the refrigerator in a plastic bag, and then put them on the grill the next day and just, and those things were excellent. Yeah. Or maybe it was just all the salt we poured on them that was good. I don't know. But anyway, yeah. Let's finish getting this off. I think I can handle it now. I don't know where Ryan went, but it looks like you and me are handling this. He must have something going on. Okay.
He's probably sitting in the hot tub.
Yeah.
You walk over there and
I'm going to stick this on his neck then. Warm up. Okay. Now we've got the meat and the neck meat and the flank all in one nice big chunk. I've even, on some medium-sized deer, it's not a big deal to take this quarter off, leave that attached, and peel the whole half of the neck and the quarter all in one big piece. I've done that before too. This fellow is so nice and convenient to just break into little chunks. Now we're down to the last hind quarter basically, and maybe some flank here. If you really wanted to save some of this flank, which is, it's so tiny and it's half polluted that I'm not going to save it, but you just take the knife and just cut right over through to here. And take that, oh, there's a little bit of cartilage right there on the end of that. And you would take this and go right here. And now be careful not to cut into the tenderloin itself. Let me get this where you can see it a little bit better. Stay away from the tenderloin and just cut that flank right off. And now on a moose, that's a big chunk. That's a good sized chunk. On this thing, it's not much. And now you can get to those tenderloins nice and easy. And you would just cut right down like so. And then just peel it. You could even cut in here, get to that last, there's a bone right in here. And then peel at it. Oh. And just roll it. Now remember, it's a real soft piece of meat. Like so. And you peel it just like that. And that would come right off like that. You can cook it whole on the grill or anything like that, and it's normally a nice, pretty decent piece of meat. It's actually doesn't smell too much, but it's nothing special. We'll drop it in there. And it's also cold, that won't pollute the rest of it if it's not too hot. But anyway, that's how it's done anyway. And you peel that loose from there, and now you've gotten all that. And then you get down to your last quarter. And since we've got all this part and we don't care about it anymore, we can actually use that as some leverage. And we'll do the same cut that we did on the other half of the hind quarter. And we'll just go right in and look for that other socket. And the same thing here, we'll get right into that. And you can see the ball right there, just starting. Now, what's really handy is the ability to open this way. And I'll cut into it and start it like that, and then I'll let it down and set like the rib cage on the tailgate, and then pry that open, and it'll help you peel that hind quarter right off the bone like we did on the first part, and you're good to go. Yeah, and then let your hind quarter come this way. Yeah, and then I can now you can see how much easier it is to have a little pressure and bend it. Get right inside the ball and socket and cut off the tendon in the joint itself. And now we'll just stay right against the bone and go ahead and let it down some. Yep.
Yep, he's just grabbing the strap out.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Open her up. And we'll just finish right along there. Like so. And come towards me. Yeah, sideways and towards me. Yeah. Okay. Now there's a little bit of an ear on this little bit of bone sticks out on each side. It's like a little ear right there. And you have to go behind that ear when you come to separate it and down. Yep. And just once you get through that and you get through this part, now turn your knife in and go towards the center of the backbone. As long as there isn't too much dirt. Yeah, too much dirt in the tailgate there. Make sure and keep that part clean. And keep prying down though, Rodney. Yep. Yeah. Oh no, you're doing great. And just hang on to it because you may own it all of a sudden. See, and stay right against the bone and just keep peeling that away, and that'll come right off. And Ryan's going to have it in his hands in just a second here. Right against the bone, just like that. That'll come right loose from there. How many times have we done this, Jimmy?
You more than me.
Yeah, but like a lot. We shot a lot of deer.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm taking a lot of deer apart. Okay, so basically now we're gonna start it on deer number 2, doing the same exact thing. If you like these videos and you're seeing what you like, check out some of the actual hunts, and we'll be doing more chopping, cutting, and hacking when it comes to deer, even to the mounts and making them, and flushing and caping and all that kind of stuff. So we appreciate everybody watching, and if you're got it all into quarters and you've taken good care of it and it's nice and cool and clean and whatnot, your meat cutter's gonna love you, and he'll be glad to work on your stuff. You bring him something that's all nasty and polluted, he's not gonna like that. And especially like being responsible for what you do and how you do it makes it a lot better. Good luck out there, guys. Hope you have a great time hunting and a great time processing and taking care of your own meat and doing your own thing. It's awesome when you know how to fish instead of just wanting fish. And that's what we're trying to teach here. So take care.